Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And in this new season of Quantum Conversations, we are taking a journey into hyperspace this week with Quantum Conversation. And this is a space otherwise known as the quantum realm, that space which is the greater part of you outside of time and space. All possibilities and all events and timelines exist here. The gateway, the connection, is love, pure love. Today my guest is here to share on pure love, unity, consciousness in this evolution and shift in consciousness. Lisa Transcendence Brown is an ascended way shower, and I say ascended because she has ascended in her physical body, expanding consciousness to higher levels of compassion and love and the oneness of all. Let's welcome Lisa Transcendence Brown back to Quantum Conversations. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Loren. Thank you, guys. I'm excited to join you all today. There's so much going on an energetic level that is really powerful. So this is important, so thank you. It's an honor, and I'm always excited when we can come together to share. So thank you so much.
Yes, beautiful. On an energetic level, things are happening. It continues to work with us, getting rid of old belief systems, the old programming, old thought patterns. So let's start first with the current energetic upgrades. There are light codes coming in with solar flares and so much more cosmic energy. Let's talk about the role of the gatekeepers and the grid keepers. You are connected on a multidimensional level. You access this from a higher realm or
from inside.
Multidimensional, from inside.
From inside.
You're decoding the codes. And the gateway is love, but it is inside, in the depths of the core of our being. Talk about this.
Well, it's many things, and so that's why it gets so confusing. I talk about human aspects, which is our ego aspect, because once you physically ascend, then anything that isn't love and purity is an ego human program. And so you actually sit and observe a bunch of humans running around totally unconscious, having no clue that's not what reality is. You know what I'm saying? And so it becomes very definitive. You're very aware, and you're fully conscious of what is conscious and what is unconscious, so that you get to choose what kind of reality you want to live in, as well as re-educating and exposing others to levels of purity that our human aspect doesn't have access to. And that's what all of this is about, is to bring us all back to, it's called awakening, it's called ascension, it's called remembering, but it's not on a level like a human would think. So everything that we think is going to happen, it's not going to happen that way. Everything we expect to happen, it's not going to happen that way. It's going to happen when you're alone. It's going to happen through your physical experiences. Something's going to open your heart. Something's going to open your mind to more, to something beyond the physical plane of existence. And it's about expanding our consciousness beyond the physical plane of existence and holding that higher state of consciousness all of the time in how we live our lives, which is the challenge that people are going through right now. But this is what physical body ascension and multidimensionality is all about. Human aspects are unaware that they walk around in a multidimensional world, on a multidimensional earth. And it's because they live, if you will, and I say they, because I'm just explaining the process. They live from their heads. What is tangible is real, which it's not understood until each person actually connects on a quantum level through the light of their own soul. And so it's about going so deep inside of yourself, which is where our human will avoid going. It doesn't want to go inside there. It doesn't want to feel all those things. And unfortunately, we didn't come here to stay unconscious. It's called an old matrix program, and each person has their own matrix program that then links up to collective matrix programs. But it's up to each one of us to basically decipher and decode our own matrix program, which is what we do. Those of us, if you will, who do this as a gatekeeper and a grid keeper, we've dedicated our lives and our entire existence to higher consciousness humanity, and for the evolution of humanity from a lower state of consciousness where we all were deep asleep. And believe me, I was deep, deep, deep asleep. Okay, totally unconscious and had no clue. And I basically had to fall through it all backwards and upside down and inside out and get drugged through it to basically wake me up. Because my ego was so strong, and my fight and my resistance and my walls around my heart were so, it was like you weren't getting through to my heart. It was so protected. I lived from survival mode in every aspect of my life, and all of that has to shift and change, because this isn't a survival mode anymore. But if we believe it is, it is. So this is about belief systems, and what we insist is true, because the human aspect of us will insist that a certain reality is true based upon a limited perception. And when in fact, usually it couldn't be further from the truth, and usually it's the opposite. Usually it's complete opposite and reverse of what everybody thought things were, which is how it works. Gatekeepers and grid keepers, as we purify ourselves, as we clear our own distortions, as we clear our own programming inside, as we return to an existence of purity, as we return to an existence of love, as we return to those purest aspects of ourself, we gain access, and it's levels of access, if you will. And I don't like a level word because humans start comparing things, but they're different spaces of consciousness that we get access to as we evolve through our own light, and it's through the embodiment of light. There's a lot of time spent alone. There's a lot of time spent integrating all of these immense codes into our physical bodies. We become the anchor point for the grid work for New Earth. And so as a gatekeeper, we have a Stargate system that gives us access to other galaxies, gives us access to all the planets on a vibrational and frequency level, and we have access through vision, through inner vision, through sound, feeling, and so like inside of me, there's a symphony of frequencies that plays 24 hours a day, and usually I'll start yelling when I talk because I'm yelling over the whole universe. I'm yelling over the cosmos. In the beginning, it's annoying frequencies, but once I started understanding that those frequencies actually tune our body to a higher dimensional plane of existence, that we actually get to walk completely out of the third and the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension and live in these other dimensions. And once you open up access to the fifth dimension, then all the other ones open up, and you go so far beyond the fifth dimension. They're not just in the beginning, they're energetic realities, and they're holographic. They're through our third eye. In the beginning, it's just through feeling. And so once we've learned to trust our feelings, which is the first place we have to go, is to learn to listen to our body, learn to listen to our feelings. And then we get access to all the other, as you start developing your senses. And humans, we call them gifts. But they're your abilities, they're your natural organic abilities as a universal being, as a cosmic being, as a Christed being, as a crystalline being, all of these different aspects of, we have different DNA that constantly changes and adapts and rewrites itself 24 hours a day. And so it's pure dedication to evolving humanity into a higher state of consciousness, so that each person who actually came here for this, that chooses this, who chose this on a soul level, this is their journey too. Anybody that stumbles into any of what we do is one of those people. It's a part of the waking up process. But we actually take all of the information that we have access to based upon our own level of consciousness, if you will, and there's many of them, and we get access to the light codes, the geometrics, the equations, all of this stuff that we actually have to take it and we decode it all, and then we put it together in writings, in videos. Everything we do is like encoded, and so we have to deliver the information in a way that makes sense to others. And to the human linear mind, it won't make any sense. So each person has to actually feel and really tune in with their whole being. And I have a lot of people who say, I don't understand a word you say. I feel it, and it feels right to me, but I can't comprehend it. And that's how it starts. And for the people who have, become our communities all over the world, that follow my work, it takes some people a few years to get to the point, not anymore, but in a way it does. Because understanding cosmic codes, understanding universal codes, understanding the crystalline and the Christed codes, and all the star codes that come through mean we have to actually get out of our head and we have to absorb them on a multidimensional level. And then each person gets access. We expose them to it. We share the information and the knowledge because each person here holds a certain level, if you will, of responsibility to do the same thing. We're all gatekeepers. We're all grid keepers. Our bodies serve as this. And so it takes a lot on our part to dedicate your entire existence, because it takes your whole body to do this.
What's that like for you as someone who can understand that you are receiving these codes, and we're all receiving them, most of us are not aware of it.
Right.
You say to listen to your feelings, listen to your body.
Yes.
It really is getting quiet, and it begins with taking that precious time to just sit and be still in meditation.
Meditation. Eventually, you raise your consciousness to where you're walking around you're in a meditative state 24 hours a day, because you're actually elevating your consciousness to lower your brainwave state. And so basically, it goes beyond your brainwave state. In the beginning, if you will, it's just sitting and trying to meditate, which a lot of people, the more masculine energy we hold, you can't meditate. You're too busy, your head's too busy, and all that kind of stuff. So it's basically about doing whatever it takes to get into an observation mode where you can connect inside and listen to your thoughts. And so for the really masculine energy, like me, I never could meditate, but I would go inside and listen to my thoughts and observe my thoughts and pay attention to the vibration of my thoughts, and start to discern what I was hearing as basically the lies our ego will tell us, if you will. Our ego is our separation from ourself as pure source consciousness, pure source light, pure source love, conscious creators, creator aspects. And so basically learning to tell the difference between, most people don't understand that everything you hear is a frequency and a tone. And your ears, all they do is they translate what's in your cellular body into words so you can hear them. Well, a human aspect doesn't understand this, and they believe every word they hear. So when I started understanding in the beginning that I had to listen to everything, and that everything technically was true if I believed it. And then I had to choose what I wanted to believe. And it gets a bit challenging when you're looking at a physical world in front of you, and you have to choose not to believe the physical world anymore, which is a part of the process for all of us. You actually, we have to learn to choose to understand. Otherwise, you'll hear the human go, I don't understand, I don't understand. Well, that's because their heart is closed. That's because they don't want to understand. That's because they don't want to hear anything that challenges their current reality. So, for those The physical reality will go sideways and turn upside down in order to get their attention. For us, we don't have to have those realities anymore. Our physical realities don't go haywire on us anymore because we've completely aligned our physical reality on a soul level. And we keep it aligned. And so the realities based upon the dimension our physical body occupies, based upon the dimension that our consciousness occupies, dictates our physical reality here. And so it actually takes expanding our consciousness beyond the physical reality and tuning in on a quantum level through energetics. Tuning in on a quantum level to, one, going through your feelings and processing all of those feelings out of your body, through your body. So when fear comes up, most people don't understand that your light body activating. On a human level, they will actually believe the fear. But on a higher level, if you actually, the moment things are not awesome, if you will stop and just go inside and really go, you have to go deeper than the surface. You have to go deeper. When you expand your consciousness, you go deeper. When you go deeper, you expand your consciousness. That's how this works. And so you actually stop everything and choose to go deeper and connect inside and let everything else start to align. Sometimes you got to talk yourself through something. In the beginning, it's a challenge to stay conscious 24 hours a day. It's a lot of work and it's exhausting. After a while, it becomes your natural state and it's not work anymore, and then you're working in different ways. Because what we do is work. It's just not perceived by others because they don't understand everything that we do. Mm-hmm. So we have to maintain physical realities, a bazillion of them simultaneously, and manage them all and master them all, and then get all the information out there and do all of this stuff. And we're basically going against the norm, if you will. We have to overcome all the judgment that other people have. We have to overcome all those things because it wasn't accepted until people's reality started to collapse and go sideways and fall apart. Higher consciousness is seen as an imposition and weird and bizarre. And in the beginning it is. It's beyond weird and bizarre. It'll challenge our sanity in every capacity. But then what happens is the more that we maintain a higher state of consciousness, then the physical reality of others is weird and bizarre. We are not the weird and bizarre ones anymore. So it flips. Humans are weird and bizarre because you can see all the distortions, because that's what photonic light does. Where we are now for multidimensionality is the new norm.
Hallelujah.
Okay, yeah, and we are the representatives for multidimensionality, which means we have to take it seriously because we set the example for what New Earth is. We set the example. We are the way showers, each one of us that do this. It doesn't matter who it is, because each person technically is the way shower in their own current reality.
Okay, let's take this a little bit further. You had mentioned fear is the light body activating. That really is fascinating. So, you know, when it's not awesome and we do have some fear, you say go deep inside.
Go deeper inside, breathe, breathe it out. What's happening is light will basically go straight to a lower consciousness program, a lower frequency bandwidth, and basically it's the light in your body, photonic light, which is the light of your soul, which is the light of your higher self, which is the light of your spirit. It doesn't really matter what words you want to use because they're all true, okay? Because it's going to be, there's so many levels of consciousness and different types of consciousness here. We're here to embody all of those, not just one. So in the beginning, it starts out as a human and a higher self, but then you go so far beyond there because then you have a bazillion higher selves, and they all have a different DNA. They all have a different codes. They all have different purposes and knowledge and roles here for a multidimensional Earth. And so our job is to access them all and bring all of that information here so that we can actually bring all of humanity into a higher state of consciousness too. The fear itself is a lower frequency, a lower vibration program that was lodged in the physical body. It was anchored in the physical body, and it kept each person's body anchored in a lower dimension of 3D and 4D. And so the physical body needs to ascend. The physical body has to release the programs in order to vibrate. Literally, you will feel the energy vibrating in your body. Your whole body will start shaking. In the beginning, it's a fear-based program, but after that, it's no longer fear, but you will feel your cells moving. That's your light body. But in the beginning, the fear programs, the judgment, the fear, judgment, blame, shame, guilt, all of these programs that are not from your purest place of love inside of you, they're human programming. And they're what keeps the body anchored in an unconscious dimension, an unconscious reality, to keep experiencing it over and over and over again until all the energy is gone. And it's in the cellular body. It's got to be cleared. There is a ridiculous amount of unconscious programming in our body that we have no clue is there. And these photonic frequencies, the light of your soul, your light body will activate to show you your own distortions. They will cause your physical reality to become really loud so you can see the distortions of your reality. And that's how it really takes opening way up completely and fully surrendering your ego aspect, so that when you're in an exchange with somebody else, if the ego comes in, your ego doesn't go right back and try to engage. It completely, you actually have to choose not to keep the ego programs going. Because that's, on a human level, that's the natural way. Go ahead, sweetie.
No, it's just, you know, we're glad that you've gone through it and you help us understand it. It's not so easy to do that. There's so much.
It's going to take everything you got.
How would you, okay, there's questions coming in when pain, grief, or fear arise, and you do go deep into your consciousness. You release it with, how do you actually release those feelings, and how do you know?
Let go of the judgment.
Yes, let go of the judgment.
Let go of the judgment and shift. Becoming conscious means that you're going to shift yourself to a place where you honor whatever you're going through in that moment as important.
So don't judge that you have fear or pain.
No, get excited.
Get excited and honor it.
Appreciate the fact that finally this was lodged in your body. Finally it's coming up. Finally. And you basically, it's a shifting of your mindset. You have to shift your mindset for your energy to shift.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically shifting how you perceive all of this is we speak in key codes, okay? Shifting how you perceive this entire process of evolving with your physical body from a human with a carbon-based body to a multidimensional who basically transmits light, who gets to experience higher dimensional and alternate dimensions and multiple dimensions in their physical reality because they're conscious. That's each person's journey here. It's a personal journey where each person is bound to the collective that they subscribe to. And there's a billion different collectives that we can talk about in a minute, but I don't want to get
There is, because I know,
well,
you know, okay, so with us, when we go to others, that we're assisting others, whether it be spouses or siblings or children, grown children, teenager children, younger children, and allowing them, everybody, the space to be where they're at, right? We don't want to be forceful. We want to be good examples. Again, that's easier said than done as well, because we want to assist, and sometimes that could get us into sticky situations, right?
Well, hold on, because I'm going to stop you, because you're using words that are ego. Okay, so easier said than done. Okay, so hold on. You said easier said than done. For your ego aspect, that's true. Okay, yes. It is true. But if you shift into your heart, it's not.
See how simple that is?
You have to catch your words and your phrases and the way you perceive things. So the next thing you said, the reason it's easier said than done, and this is important to understand, all the discomfort comes from your ego.
Yes.
All of this, when you function from your purest place inside, it is very simple, and it's so easy, it's hard to see. It's so easy, it's hard to accept. It's hard because it's too easy. When you simplify everything and you open your heart, and I don't mean a little bit. See, our human aspect will just open our heart a little bit, just enough to get by, and then it'll close back down again. And this is about opening your heart completely and functioning from that place and not closing your heart again. When your heart closes, your ego comes back in.
And so things that make the heart close again, you know, we talked about this offline here. It is judgment, and we walk around every day and we judge, right? Everything we do is looking outside and judging or trying to fix.
Correct.
And so really shifting out of that into functioning from the core of our essence.
You have a very pure essence. On a soul level, and this is the part that we didn't understand in the beginning until we got here, okay? And until you actually experience this and get here, we don't have a clue, all right?
And opening the heart completely, right? Any negative...
Full surrender of your ego aspect. Full conscious surrender of your ego. Let
full
go.
Surrender of the ego.
Yes. You actually have to choose to surrender your ego or it gets broken. You have to choose to surrender your ego and this is a lot of what's going on with the light codes, the photonic light codes and all these things that are going on right now. They are actually targeting the nervous system. They are targeting the immune system to break those systems down. So that each person cannot resist this process anymore. Their fight, their resistance, the human aspect will fight and resist this. Your body has a consciousness too. Well, if you're not aware that your muscles are tight, you don't know you're in resistance mode. If you're not aware that you're holding on to something, if you're not aware that you're fighting something, if you're not aware, because when you're in your purest place inside, you're not fighting anything anymore. There's no battle. None. It goes. And so choosing to resolve and dissolve every ego construct is a full-time job. When you said it's easier said than done, for your ego, that's true. Then you said something right after that I didn't get to write it down, but it was something else about other people. Okay?
Yes, assisting our loved ones.
Okay, so this is the tricky part. You have to identify what is your need and what is from your highest place inside. What is for each other from a place of love and respect. And what happens is when we start doing this, when you start focusing on, not you, but you humans, okay? When we start focusing on other people, we actually have to pay attention to ourselves to realize what is your need. Because humans do it because they need or want something. Here, there's a level, see, on a human level, there's a level of respect that's always missing. Because that level of self-respect, self-love is missing. When you love and respect yourself completely, you technically don't need others to do anything at all. Because you're doing what needs to be done.
Okay.
We look at other people and we look at their reality. And we see the choices they're making. We see the mentalities. We see the energy of everything, and then we decide what's appropriate. In this moment, what's appropriate? What's aligned on a soul level? What comes from a place of unity and love? What is being respectful? Because humans are not considerate. They're not kind. They don't care about each other. It's always a self-serving program over a service program. And for me, when I was in a relationship, I actually had to remove my want and needs from the relationship and elevate my consciousness to a higher place. And I always had to do what was right on a soul level, no matter what my little human wanted. And so when it was time for one of my relationships to end, my human didn't want the relationship to end. I broke down and started crying, but on a higher consciousness level, I knew I had to let it go. And so the tricky part of this is that it's going to challenge everything about your human ego. That's the whole point. It's to challenge and break those belief systems down, break that lack. That's lack. Lack of respect, lack of consideration, lack of love for yourself and each other. And that's the part that human aspects don't understand. Everything we do for the whole picture. Everything we do for each other. But we don't leave ourselves out anymore. And we don't judge. And we don't do self-serving and hurt other people. We don't do self first. We always do what's right on a higher consciousness state. But it's not always going to look like that to the human aspect because they don't understand. You don't know how much judgment we get for what we do. Because what we do aligns on a soul level. It doesn't align on a human level. They're opposites most of the time. For you and each person and all of us, we actually have to go into each relationship and every exchange, and we have to observe it from our highest place inside and figure out what is highest aligned. What is caring about each person? What is respectful to each person's reality? What's our responsibility? What is the other person's responsibility? Because there's a separating of realities where you give the gift of responsibility back to each other, and we hold each other accountable too, and that's another thing humans don't do. They like to hold others accountable, but it's from a blame play.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of holding themselves accountable for their actions.
You know, this is a topic of conversation, I know, with so many out there. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about this. And then next I want to talk about more of the codes that you get and how people are beginning to see these energies.
Mm-hmm.
That's the wind in the background for me. I don't know if you can hear that. The big cleansing here today with this wind.
Solar, cosmic wind.
Yes, I would suppose that is part of it as well. Okay, so we look out at our world, and to be in this heart-centered place, we know that that is very effective. Personal ascension is a personal experience, but it's here for the planet as well. So assisting ourself is assisting the planet and being the example and the way shower.
Well, and being responsible for your own level of consciousness.
Yes, being responsible for your level of consciousness, being very aware in the present moment, every moment, of where we're coming, where we're anchored from. And so
and part of multidimensionality means your consciousness is going to expand into the beyond, if you will, into the other dimensions, and your physical body, it gets really confusing for a while because you can hardly function. It gets really confusing for a while because you're sleeping a lot. It gets really confusing and on the human scale. Oh, we're not supposed to sleep. We have to do this. We have to do that. And there's all these things. Well, when it's time to evolve your consciousness and basically evolve your body into a higher state of consciousness, what a lot of people don't understand is your DNA is rewriting itself. These solar codes, all of these codes that are coming through, they are targeting your higher consciousness and your lower consciousness DNA and your genetics, and they are rewriting your entire genetic makeup for you, which dictates your physical reality, your physical body. Go ahead.
Well, so as people do this work and allow this to happen and surrender the ego, when we look at our reality here, okay, so the current things that would get people down, what we do not like seeing happening on our earth, that will just go away, right? That will continue to fall away Because
it'll continue to, it will continue to fall away for you, but it'll still be other people's reality.
It'll still be other people's reality.
If
So,
they
for example,
choose it, yes.
Okay, so when we see, here this is again, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but it is part of the conversation that we all have when we look out in the world and we see fracking or the chemtrails.
Those are results. Okay, so all of those things are a result.
A result
of everything that we chose on a soul level to keep they are a result of unconscious actions. They are a result, and they are a dimension that is unconscious. But each person can actually elevate their consciousness beyond that dimension. And you and I have talked about this. I used to go outside all the time and clear the skies. I've opened portals. I've completely brought we're the gatekeepers and the grid keepers. You can actually turn the skies different colors. It's beautiful.
And that's the point here, yes. Going into a different dimension is really moving out of any of the blame or the fear or, again,
and realizing that you have the power inside, but you have to go inside.
Mm-hmm.
You have the power inside to shift the dimension you live in through your own consciousness. Now, the tricky part is the body doesn't get to stay in that dimension unless you hold that consciousness 24 hours a day. Every time you go unconscious, your body reverts back to an old dimension. And so it means maintaining your higher state of consciousness, your highest state of consciousness, until your body has rewritten the code, the cellular program, so that it can actually vibrate at a different frequency to leave that dimension completely. Now, what will happen on a multidimensional level is you will be walking around. You will see things that exist, but it won't be your reality. You can see what exists for other people, because what happens is each person is their own universe, and you will engage as a multiverse. You'll walk around when everybody's in a different universe. Imagine, okay, so Loren, you can have a conversation with somebody, but they totally are asleep and they don't get this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in a different universe. You're not even in the same universe. Doesn't it feel like that to you?
Yes, and sometimes they're in far, far, far away universes.
Correct.
And yes, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's hard. It's hard, but the thing about it is that to start to understand how multidimensionality works is to realize the reason let's say they're far away in another universe in that moment is because their heart is closed, so their mind is closed. The moment their heart opens, they get to vibrate back into or closer to the universe that you exist in. People don't understand you're actually walking around in different universes, literally.
Mm-hmm. When we see that from the perspective of you can actually see people in their own little universes, it is quite humorous. It is quite hilarious.
Yes. Now, where it gets tricky is where we came here and okay, so each person from that point, from what you just said, now works to clear out karmic timelines and karmic realities and scenarios, which is their own unconscious programs. And what will happen is before, when we all came together, we were all unconscious. And so each person now has to bring their own reality into consciousness, and where more than one person is in a reality together, you have to do it together on an individual basis, or it's lopsided and it can't align. Because realities now become a vibrational alignment, where you tune realities to a higher vibration, where you tune your body to a higher vibration. All of this becomes energetic. And when you tune your vibration, your consciousness, to a different vibration, you actually change reality. Well, the human aspect doesn't have this capability because they don't know how to tune. They're not tuned into the energetics of things. They're focusing on the physical, and they're complaining about the physical. They're complaining. They're in victim mode. Complaining is victim mode.
Mm-hmm.
It's where human or whining, because you have masculine and feminine of every energy, okay? But basically, when you're complaining, you're getting energy out of being a victim, but you don't understand that. And so when I became aware of that, then I would consciously complain.
Yeah, so it's clearing energy, even though they're not aware of
Right.
it. You would think that it would just keep you bringing more of it.
Well,
It would
the
keep
thing
you
about it
locked in
is
it.
it does keep you locked in it as long as you've got that energy inside. So you can actually shift to a conscious place. And I used to just go stomp my feet and complain and get the energy out, knowing that I still had to go do what I was shown, what I saw on a higher dimensional level. But I was still going to have to do it. But on a human level, I needed to complain and get the energy out of my body, because we don't like the things we see for a while, because they basically challenge our entire physical reality. They push us to do things we don't want to do, which is why all of these timeline collapses are going on, is because a collapse is a convergence, but it's also all those vibrations no longer being supported as a reality anymore. That whole reality is going to collapse. And the human aspect will fight to keep the reality intact, not understanding it's already collapsed, because everything is vibrational here. And so there's a lot that goes on a quantum level, but you have to be able to open your heart to see on a quantum level. And it's tuning in to the energetics. It's tuning in to the energy. It's tuning into the vibration. It's learning to feel your truth in the beginning. Because you don't get vision until you learn to feel your truth and decipher your feelings and honor your feelings, because your body, the human body, is in a rapid release mode now on a cellular level, because it can't sustain anymore. Go ahead.
It would seem that is it, when we talk about our senses, that everyone feels first. It is like our
feeling is first.
The feeling is first, because we can really feel that inside of ourselves. And then there's a knowingness.
First, because that's what gets your heart open, because all those feelings were blocking access to your heart opening.
Yes.
And so
and
the
creating
feelings
belief systems.
Right.
Right.
And as you process, what will happen is once you observe the feeling and learn to discern your feelings and figure out what's going on with your feelings, anytime there's discomfort, that's telling you that you're avoiding something or you've avoided something and that you're going to have to go there. And so on an ego level, we will avoid that. We don't want to go there. We don't want to feel that. We fear fear. We fear pain. We fear discomfort. We fear, and we will do anything we can to avoid it. Well, it's also called ignoring or ignorance, which is what the ego aspect is. And so basically we have to be okay with feeling that discomfort, crying, getting angry, but we do it on a conscious level, because you're just processing programs out of your cellular body. The cells of your body are like data banks. They're memory storage. And they hold data that is going to be recoded through light. And so photonic light will actually work through every one of your cells to break the structure of the cell down, which is why so many people are having body problems right now, because they don't understand. Is that on a cellular and a molecular level, every cell of the body has to break completely down and be reconstructed with all new programs, all new DNA. Everything has to be redone completely. Well, that's a huge process. And it's taken our whole life up to this point. It's not I woke up one day. We've always been trying to wake up. We've always been trying to do this. We just weren't ready. It wasn't our time. We had more human experiences to go through. We had all these things that we still needed to do. Every one of them important, because they're going to come into play later, because those experiences are going to be your skills. The resources that you've gathered are going to be the resources that you use to contribute to New Earth existence here. The skills you have are going to contribute to your higher soul purposes and unity consciousness here. Everything you've ever done is going to come into play. Where it gets tricky is that the human aspect, the ego aspect, will hold out until they lose everything in order to get the point. The reason we do what we do is so that each person doesn't have to get to that place, that they can actually do this consciously and utilize everything that they have to serve higher purposes and the highest purposes for all of humanity here.
Mm-hmm. That's why you so encourage people to share and share this
everything.
knowledge. Share everything.
Share knowledge, share your things, share your money, share your... See, people don't understand is that New Earth is an investment on our part. We have to be fully invested with everything we have. You cannot get here and be partially committed. It doesn't work that way. So each person here has had to commit and invest everything they have in a whole new reality, completely. We're building all new realities. We're reforming everything. We're restructuring everything all anew. You birth new earth realities from inside of you. So, and I mean literally birth it. That's the birthing pains, that's the breathing, that's the belly blowing up. We actually give birth. You have and you and I've talked about this before. You have other chakras than the original 7. And there's a newer chakra located right above your belly button. And every time you're about to give birth to new information, your belly's going to blow up. Every time light codes are coming into your head's going to fill. Your head's going to get heavy. You're going to need to lay down and go to sleep and close your eyes because your pineal gland is trying to release. Your neural pathways are trying to open up. This is a very physical evolution of your whole body being involved and your whole reality too. Because each person's reality has to be soul aligned, not human aligned.
Okay, well, we are going to talk a little bit about some of the new energies and colors that people see.
Yay! Yes.
Yay, because
there's an entire new spectrum system available to each person. That's beautiful.
Yes, and then I also do want to talk about being abundant on New Earth, because some would say that we don't, are we still going to need money? And for the time being, as we're all co-living on this planet with multi-dimensions, it's like we're living in multi-dimensions. We still have to be with people living in other dimensions. So yes, money still does, it still is a thread, but the rules have switched with it.
This is the thing about that people don't understand. You never, we don't focus on the thing. You focus on the energy of the thing.
You focus on the energy.
This isn't about money. This is how you use your money.
Okay.
It's where you come from with money. It's, see, the human aspect, they think money is abundance. Well, money is just an aspect of abundance. Okay, money, when you become fully abundant and fully connected inside, you're fully abundant, you don't need money anymore. You couldn't care less about money. Money is a human creation. But what happens is when you go through physical body ascension, you understand the purpose of money. And you understand how money can make a difference. And you actually use money to make a difference for everybody here on Earth, every person you connect with. Money becomes a gift. Money becomes a way to teach. I use money to teach people what respect and generosity and kindness are. I use money to make a difference in people's lives. I use money to produce the programs. I use money to reach people. Most people don't understand that everything is self-funded that we do. We have to raise the money for reaching people because it's never been supported. We have to work 12 jobs. We have to work. We do work in service to humanity, and it costs money because we still live in a money society still. But the difference is when you become fully abundant, and this is the tricky part. Money is not a linear thing here. Money is a vibrational thing. It's in response to how much we contribute to higher consciousness Earth. Money, our universe, when you become the whole universe, your universe provides for you in every capacity. You don't lack for anything ever again. But you have to let go, and this is the tricky part. Everybody's being moved from a linear reality to a non-linear quantum one, which is vibrational. so that the things that you have, they're used to support and create and reach and make a difference. They have a purpose, a higher purpose here. And so all of a sudden, money becomes love. Money becomes respect. Money becomes something that we use to honor each other's energy and contribution. Money becomes something, so if you take it off of money, technically if every person treated each other with respect and honor and integrity, money doesn't matter, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're sharing. And through me, not through me, part of the initiation, see, human aspects don't understand every moment is a test. Every moment is an initiation process to see what you're going to choose to do. And if you choose an unconscious reality, you get to go back and play in that unconscious reality until you come into consciousness. And you break that program and the energy that you hold that kept that whole thing going to start with. And when you choose the higher consciousness reality, we don't care where money comes from. We just say, universe, bring us money, and we get up each day and we go to work. We get up each day and we do what we're shown, and we let everything come to us to support the work we're doing, to support the difference we're making. And you basically have to let go of the control that your ego needs. And this is the tricky part, is the human aspect doesn't want to do the work. You're going to work, but you're going to work differently. Your life is going to be really easy. Your life is going to be beautiful. Your life is going to be amazing, and there's going to be so much joy, and you're going to love what you're doing that it's not really work. Does that make sense? And so you hear a lot of people say, all we do is play, and that gives a different, because the human hears, oh, all they do is play. Well, no, that's not true. We play while we work. We have a blast. Work is awesome, but we do, while a lot of people are out there doing other things and playing, we're working. It's the perception of what our work is. It's the perception. And so it's a different perception. You know, like for me, in order to accomplish the amount of, I work quantum style. I do 12 different jobs every day, more than that. You know, I had somebody come over last year, and she looked at me, she goes, oh my God, Lisa, you're doing the job of 4 people. I'm like, I know. And then and a few hours later, she looked at me and she says, no, you're doing the job of like 8 or 10 people. I'm like, yeah, I know. Why do you think I don't have any time for anything else? Because I work. But we all signed on for this. And until each person is ready to step up and come together and pull the weight that's necessary for all of these things, then each one of us who are gatekeepers, we have to do it by ourselves. Each person has to go through this. They will have to do it by themselves too in order to understand the magnitude that this takes for everything that everybody does. They don't respect it yet. Humans don't respect this because they live according to a different value system. And so what's happening is each person's value system gets reworked. Instead of valuing things, you value each other. You respect each other. You care about each other. You step up. You support each other. And if somebody's in a different place, you let them go do their reality however they need to do, and you do your reality your way. It's called respect. But humans, they all want to be in the same reality together. They have attachments and cords and needs and lack and insistence and imposition, and they're bullies. Do you see the difference here?
Yes, absolutely. And there's a question that comes up, though. So for those who are working in government positions, corporate positions,
they can elevate their consciousness and affect every person they work with through higher consciousness and love and respect, too. It doesn't matter. See, this is the thing, Loren. It isn't about the location. It isn't about the job. It's the consciousness you function from that makes a difference in your world. I had to learn to elevate my consciousness while walking around with a bunch of, I'm going to use 3D, 4D, 5D, because this is the part that people don't understand. is that the dimension you occupy is the experience you're having. It's either loving and respectful and kind and sharing and supportive and inspiring and coming together and working together in unity, or it's an unconscious one. People don't understand that your reality reflects your level of consciousness. I had to elevate my consciousness so that no matter what job I did, that I had to come from love no matter what. I had to treat people with respect, and I had to stop taking and accepting less from other people, and I had to start saying no. And a lot of people don't understand no is a huge part of this journey. And I wrote a thing, I think it was back in December, that it says on a soul level, I love you, but no. Mm-hmm. And the answer is no to supporting the old programs, no to keep the old stuff going, no, not playing in the ego stuff anymore, no. Is that loving and respectful? If the answer is no, then you have a choice to make. And that's the tricky part here is the ego aspect. The human aspect doesn't want to make those choices because it means the reality is going to change. The reality is going to change whether they like it or not. It's just that you either get a conscious choice in doing it yourself or you wait until you don't have a choice. And that's the part where you get drugged through and it's rough and it's harsh, and that's the ego's journey. If you open your heart and actually choose to do what's highest aligned, you have a much easier ride. Because then what will happen is your universe, you have an ego aspect and you have a higher self aspect. You have an ego, you have a billion ego aspects. You don't just have one. That's why it gets so tricky for people. It's not just one ego. It's all the aspects of your ego too. It's recognizing where you're functioning from in every moment. Are you functioning from your highest consciousness place in every moment? Are the decisions you make your highest conscious? And only you can know the answers to your questions. Humans run around asking everybody else the question. Well, you have to go inside. Your answers are inside of you. You can ask a million people because what will happen is the human aspect wants to ask other people so they can convince themselves. And they're usually looking for the easy answer, not the one. They don't want to hear the thing they have to do because they don't like the answer they're getting. It is going to challenge. Your ego is going to be challenged in every moment because your ego isn't going to like one bit of this. It's not meant to be comfortable. You're breaking programming. You're basically stepping into every fear that you have. And I used to say this is not a journey for the faint-hearted. It's going to take everything you got to break the ego program down. Now, the thing about it is if you can actually stop and go inside and let everything fall away and connect with your higher self aspect of you, your universe, and create open, honest communication and actually ask questions and listen to you will get answers. It's not that you don't get answers, it's that you don't like the answers you get. Mm. And so on a human level, they'll seek another answer. They'll ask 12,000 people trying to get one person to tell them the thing they want to hear instead of the other 11,000 people telling them the things they don't want to hear, which is usually going to be their higher thing. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. This is not an easy journey in the beginning because it means going against everything you thought was true. Everything that you once believed is going to end up being not true anymore. And that's challenging. When your new truth is inside and you have to go inside and you have to connect inside and you have to ask the questions, you have to sit and look, you have to want to hear the answers. And this is the part that most people don't understand is you actually have to do something. Sometimes you'll be told to do nothing, just step away and let the whole reality collapse. Step away. Leave it be. Other times you'll be told by your higher self, and so in the beginning it's just a feeling. You're going to know, oh, I got to do this, but I don't want to do that. And that's where the battle of duality starts. That's duality. That's where you work between your head and your heart. That's where you resolve the separation inside of yourself. And you choose what your higher self soul, heart sets over what your head is trying to say. That's the battle of Armageddon. That's all of these things. Yeah, I mean, there's many metaphors you can use. They're all true, and none of them are true, you know. But the thing about this is, though, is to realize there's a bazillion higher consciousness realities. They've all already occurred. Another dimension is a reality that's already occurred. And so if you can tune your vibration to those, then you're actually anchoring those. Your actions anchor the reality. So everybody's sitting around waiting for something to happen. They're not anchoring their higher dimensional realities here because they're not doing anything.
Share with us what you do when you want to tune your body to a higher vibration. You were talking earlier, and I know as you speak, Lisa, you are answering many questions that are coming in from our audience, so I think that's really perfect. But you had mentioned earlier, too, that, right, this is a energetic vibration, so tuning our body. You know, you said that some of us, I mean, we can feel. We're going to talk to you again. Yeah. We're going to circle back around to some of these experiences that people are having, because it does get bizarre. We've got people that I've mentioned to you that sometimes it feels almost as if I could levitate, right?
Yeah.
The feeling of love. We know what the feeling of love is. Sometimes it feels like every cell is vibrating, right?
But this is a different love than a human love. And that's where it gets, this is not human love.
Not like a sexual or relationship love, right?
No. This is a deeply intimate connection with your soul. This is a love so pure that it transcends all things human. This is a love.
You can tune your body to this.
This is where we live from, yes.
So share with us a little deeper on that part, that aspect.
Okay. Well, one thing is if you're in your head, you can't do this because your head can't feel.
Okay.
You actually have to choose to get out of your head and open your heart and tune into your body and listen to the way you feel. It has to be a conscious choice in the beginning, because what happens is the more you choose consciously, the more it becomes a natural way of being. So it means choosing consciously, constantly, until it's your natural way. You're breaking the old programs. Your old program is, let's say, to live from your head. Well, you have to say, I'm not going to live from my head. I'm not going to let my ego run the show. You have to you don't have to, but you know me, the way I talk. You do have to, because if you don't, you're going to do it anyway, basically. But this is about choosing to shift out of your head and to listen to your heart. Listen to the way you feel. Listen to your higher self-guidance. Listen, and actually meditation, and I'm going to bring these in. Meditation means basically the human aspect shutting up, cutting out distractions, and sitting and connecting. Okay? Whereas the human aspect will pray because they want something. They want somebody to talk to. They want to connect with a higher something, right? But usually when the human aspect prays, they're in desperation mode and they want something. And so this is about having two-way communication, where you actually are able to not only, I don't ask anymore, I just state, this is what I want, this is what I want, bring me this, bring me that, and then you'll be shown what to get up and do. And I get up and I go to work each day. I do what I'm shown. Well, in the beginning, and this is the tricky part, it's not that your universe can't be trusted. It's not that your universe isn't listening. It's not that everything isn't always available to you 24 hours a day. It's that your human isn't open. It's that you're not listening. It's that you don't want to know. And so you have to reverse that process. This is a reversal. Instead of going and praying when you want something, then talk to your universe 24 hours a day and listen. And you're going to listen. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, because your entire physical reality is your message. Everything that happens has a message in it. You have to learn to decode your own reality. Everything has a symbol. Everything is a sign. Everything is vibrational. Everything is energetic. But on a human level, our head doesn't have the capability to do any of this. You have higher mind consciousness that will come along too, which is you basically use your higher mind consciousness to understand everything, but your heart has to be open to do that. So you move into the divine feminine, which is opening your heart, and then you move into the divine masculine, which is the doing from that place of love, which a lot of people don't understand on a human level. But those who do this on a regular basis, they do get this, they do know. Because there's an entire, there are so many thousands and thousands and thousands of people networked all over the world on an energetic and different levels that do this 24 hours a day. This is all we do for years. But it's not understood, and so we actually have to open up to want to know. We have to do the research that opens our mind, not, how do I explain this, not looking to support a limited belief, but one that doesn't make any sense at all. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's part of having an open mind, is to get away from those BS systems, belief systems.
Right. And so the thing, what will happen, though, is when you connect inside of yourself, when you actually choose to listen, and you just start listening to your feelings. And if your feelings say, and this is what will happen, okay, so like, and I have to go back to my really early days to even find an example anymore, okay? But in the beginning, I would say, oh, I don't feel comfortable around that person, or I don't think they're really honest. Well, that, see, humans call intuition. Intuition is your higher self. Intuition is your universe talking to you. Mm-hmm. So you're tuning into your intuition, which is your higher self guidance. That's part of how you start to pay attention and learn and trust. Well, humans don't trust their intuition because they haven't used it enough to understand how it talks to them. Okay? So this is learning how your universe communicates with you, which is in everything, which is in numbers and sequences and codes and energy and all of these things. This is why we surround ourselves with everything higher consciousness. This is where we focus on raising our vibration. This is where we surround ourselves and flood our consciousness with everything higher consciousness in order to shift easier and maintain. But in the beginning for me, on a human level, before I became conscious, I would walk around 24 hours a day blaming other people for lying to me, blaming other people for being dishonest, blaming other people for doing something against me, and the reason being was because I wasn't being honorable to myself. I wasn't being respectful to myself. I was compromising on a soul level because I was trying to impress somebody, because I wanted to help somebody else. I would always do for others without looking out for myself. I wanted everybody else to be happy. I was a people pleaser. And then we all have this inner narcissism that people don't understand too, which is your ego is your own inner narcissist, which is a lot of people clear in that right now. I mean, ridiculously. Okay? That's because we went through Gaia, went through a massive Kundalini awakening, and we just went through another one. I haven't even written any of this stuff for people yet because it's so massive, and it takes me forever to put all this information together and put it out. But we just went through a cosmic Kundalini alignment this month of March, which is huge because now everything has to cosmically align. We started with the universe, which was when we came through 2012 with a physical body ascension that became available for each person on Earth, which is basically choosing to leave hell and move to heaven. If you want to, I got to put it in words that make sense. Mm-hmm. Your whole reality will become heaven because that's how you live your life, because that's how you treat each other, because you're that considerate, you're that respectful, you care that much on a soul level, not because you want anything. And this is the thing, is that humans only show up because they want something. This is a reverse reality of offering what you have, sharing what you have, and knowing that you're going to receive whatever you need. The more you offer, the more you share, the more open you are, the more you receive. And so we start learning that the more we put ourselves out there, the more we step up, the more we support, the more we receive. And this is where everybody's abundance comes from. You don't just do what gets you by anymore. And for me in the beginning, I actually had to tell my universe to bring me more, and then half of everything I got had, in the beginning for me, 100% of what I got had to go out the door. And I had to trust that I was going to have what I needed. And I had to learn to live on very little in order to understand. And I had to appreciate what I had and learn not to waste it and not use it for unconscious realities anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, okay, now you get to ask for more, but half of everything you get goes to support others. So half of everything that came in, the first thing I did was take it and I used it to make a difference. I used it to help other people. I donate, on a regular basis to those that I could see. I didn't feed lack. That's the other thing that people don't understand is you cannot use your money or your energy to feed lack. You actually have to stop feeding the lack because all you're doing is recreating it over and over again, and it's your lack. And so we basically cannot support lack mentalities. We have to actually let the ego break. And we support those things that are in alignment. We support each other who are doing this. We support the things that make a difference here. We're not trying to fix the old ways. We're creating all new ones that take their place. Now I'm going to go back to what you just said a little while ago, though. Okay, so let's go back to some of the questions because I know we have questions to ask, and I'm going to keep it on inner focus, though. I'm going to take everybody back inside because if you focus on something outside, you go unconscious.
Mm-hmm. And so this inner focus.
Mm-hmm. Inner to outer.
First it seems like we feel these vibrations. We can feel, first it's the energies that just don't feel right, paying attention to how the body feels. Other people are now.
And then it's what you do.
And then it's what you do with that to release it. Okay, so
okay, so hold on, I'm going to stop you.
All
what
right.
you just said, because it's really important, those feelings are light encodements. Do you know how to read your light encodements? We read them. We read light data. Everything is transmitted through light. So everybody in my field, I can hear, see, feel everything in my field. And it doesn't matter. They don't even have to be in proximity physically. I can do this through voice, through sound, through conversations, through online. It doesn't really matter because distance doesn't matter, okay? It's all energetic. But those feelings are light encodements. Can you read your own feelings and understand what's going on with you? Once you do, now the question is, and this is a part of the divine masculine, you actually have to do something. What are you going to do? Now that you have the knowledge, light encodements are knowledge. Knowledge is your power. But it's not intellectual knowledge, it's higher consciousness knowledge. And the only way you have access to it is to go inside. Now for a while, a lot of us channeled, which means you actually stop, you go inside, you cut out all the distractions, and you start communicating with your higher self. But eventually you have to merge all those higher selves inside, and you don't have an outside higher self anymore. You become your higher self. You embody your higher self. And then you start with all the higher selves, and you have to embody all of those too. And it's a complete DNA thing. So now I'm coming back to you, Loren, with what you just said, feelings. You actually sit and decipher your feelings, but not from an intellectual level. You open your heart and ask yourself the question, what's going on with me? Why am I upset right now? Why do I feel bad? Well, because, and you actually start seeing, well, I didn't honor me. I didn't respect me. I didn't listen. And you let go of the judgment about it all. That's the one thing about this, is everything is from present moment, this moment right here. The moment you become conscious, nothing matters. It doesn't matter how you got there except to learn from it. Your experience has become your teacher. Your whole physical experience is now your teacher. It's not that we don't still learn. We learn through observing everything on a quantum level. We just don't choose to have the old unconscious experiences anymore. We're not playing out karmic timelines anymore. We look at it and go, no, that's unconscious. We call it out, we deal with it, we resolve it, and we move on. We don't carry stuff forth. But we also do not allow unconscious programs to play out in our reality. That means each person taking responsibility.
Yes, and so that awareness of that program, first the feeling, will then be, I would say, 95% of the work.
It's going to be 100% of the work. Everything's 100%. You'll notice I say, this is number one, this is number one, this is number, everything's number one, and everything's 100%.
Okay.
But let me say this. That feeling, if it isn't pure love and appreciation, it's a victim mentality. It's a disempowered state. And all you're doing is clearing all that from the body. So when it comes up, it's your body begging for you to honor it without judging it and let your body release. It's your body trying to raise its vibration, and it can't because that's what was suppressed. Conscious release of an emotion elevates your body's consciousness. So it's different. Humans will judge their feelings. Humans will blame and all of these things, or suppress or try not to feel when they don't understand. Everything's the opposite here. You have to feel, because once you do, in order to connect with everything on a multidimensional level, you feel everything. I feel everything around me, but it's beautiful. I don't have the lower density feelings anymore. I don't have anger. I don't get angry because I don't give my power away. There's nobody to get angry with because I don't allow unconsciousness in my world. Your exchanges are beautiful. Our realities are built on a whole new foundation, which is what each person actually has to do. Your new foundation is love first. Well, from love is respect, consideration, sharing, supporting each other, inspiring. These are inspiring realities. Well, you can't come to an inspiring reality if you keep giving your power away and blaming everybody else.
Yes, and you know, Lisa, we spoke about this again offline, and it was very clear to me what we can do. And so I just want to mention that that right there is very powerful. And so if people are out there and knowing that we just make this conscious choice in this present moment to come from this pure love, unity consciousness, when we come from that state, no matter what, that will do
for self and all others, though. Remember, because we forget ourselves in the beginning. In the beginning, we have to become selfish for a while.
Okay.
Okay.
Selfish in the beginning, because you're going to get, you're going to feel some anger, and that is where the blame comes in.
Right.
And so, so the self-love is going to be where that, someone writing in says the endless guilt. And so,
okay, so this is the thing. You can, that's your inner narcissism. Okay, so let's, because I've been working with a lot of people on this recently. It's all about the inner narcissist, okay? Your narcissist ego is going to guilt you. You actually have to choose to let it go. You have to choose to stop with the stories of regurgitating other moments that don't exist anymore. The only thing that exists now is the story you tell. And the vibration of the story you tell is either you being a victim or one of acceptance that it occurred and it taught you something and you're ready to let it go and learn from it and move on.
Yes. Let it go and move on.
loving. But you have to feel the feeling. And this is the tricky part. If you feel like you're a victim, then go into conscious victimization. Be conscious. Allow yourself to be a victim and validate yourself for being a victim, knowing that you're not really a victim. Does this make sense?
Absolutely.
I consciously would take myself into victim mode to get the energy of being a victim out. I would get angry at the other person. I would, but the thing about it is I don't project my stuff on other people. I will resolve it within myself.
Okay.
And clear it within myself. You don't need the other person unless you need, which is your human ego.
Mm-hmm.
Your ego needs the other person. You, on a soul level, higher self level, you don't need the other person. You go inside. You resolve the whole thing yourself. And this is the thing. Don't do it again.
Don't do it again. And don't beat yourself up if something comes back around and you see it, right? This is
your ego.
Forgiveness.
Your ego will beat yourself up.
Your ego will beat you up if it comes up again.
Right. If it comes up again, you're being presented. Okay, so this is key. Humans don't look at other humans as an aspect of themselves. What will happen is every person represents a previous aspect of you, an unconscious aspect or a conscious one. You actually have to choose whether you're going to engage and go back into a timeline with an unconscious one or say no. Because they are showing you what's still inside of you, and if you go back into it, they're showing you what you hold. If you say no, then you're breaking that karmic timeline. If you say no, that isn't respectful. That isn't loving. That isn't kind. That's an unconscious program. The hardest thing for us to do in the beginning is say no. No, not okay. And what I started doing in the beginning was saying, no, that's not okay in my reality anymore. You have to claim your reality. And I used to say, own it or it owns you. So you take responsibility for your reality and what you allow. This is the thing. You're the one that keeps allowing everything, or it wouldn't occur.
And then the flip side of this is once we do this and we take the responsibility of that, that is really where the creation of the reality from that place is beautiful.
The recreation.
And miraculous.
Yes, it is, because in the moment that you take responsibility, you're acknowledging that somewhere inside of you created that reality to start with. Every reality is a vibrational response to what we hold. Until we don't hold that anymore and we hold something else. I'm breaking this down linearly. Okay? If you're holding the program that you give your power away, you're going to call every person to you to overpower you. Every situation, every experience to show you where you're not standing in your power, as love, as respect, as integrity, as honor. But honor and integrity are different on a soul level than they are human. So it's a whole different ball game when it comes to these things. But if you hold lack of respect for yourself, you're going to call every person to you that lacks respect for themselves, and you too. If you hold lack of love and respect for you, then your experiences are going to show you this. When you start loving and respecting you, you're going to stop calling forth people who disrespect you because you're not going to take it anymore. You're going to say, no, that's not acceptable in my reality anymore. Each person has to say no and break all the old programs themselves. And you reverse everything. When you do the opposite of the human program, you reverse everything. Well, that's how your body ascends. It's because your Merkaba kicks in and starts spinning your fields in the opposite direction. Every time you do the opposite, it increases and increases and increases. And so that's just one part of the picture. But basically, when you no longer come from your ego and separation and duality and against each person and victim mentalities, and you shift into a place of, I chose this on a soul level. Now in this moment, I have a choice as to what I'm going to allow and how it's going to play out. And you take your power back. And it's about this moment right here. The human aspect, the ego, wants to plan everything in advance. It wants to think about how everything has to go. The tricky part of this process is that's not how this works. And until you learn to live in the present moment and gauge your, how do I say this? When you're present in the moment, you're basically being aware of what's going on. You're interacting. If you interact from a place that's your ego, then you're going to have an ego interaction going on. If you are coming from your purest place of love and respect inside of you, then you're going to see where that doesn't exist in your reality. And then it's going to be up to you to decide, well, am I going to keep letting this happen? Am I going to keep participating in this? In the present moment, it doesn't matter what anybody did before. That just becomes knowledge. And you have the knowledge that in a previous timeline, because humans don't understand that you're in a different timeline than you were a nanosecond ago. You're not even in the same reality than you were a moment ago. It's gone. The only moment that's real is the one you're in, and the vibration you're functioning from dictates all realities you create from this point forward. Everything you do in this moment creates your future realities, new timelines. And if you're experiencing something that isn't comfortable, you're clearing an old one. Does this make sense?
Yes, and it illustrates the work that we do on this inner level, and also the power of love, the power of love.
I know, that's been the theme lately. When I first started waking up to the fifth dimension, the power of love used to play around in my head all day. I'm like, really, will you shut up? Because songs will give you messages. Everything will give you a message if you'll actually pay attention. Street signs, everything has a message in it. You have to decode your own current reality. Those of us who do this, we understand how all of this works, which is why we share what we share, why we teach what we teach. Doesn't matter what words we use, okay? Each person, though, pre-created all of their realities before ever incarnating or walking in here, and picked the body that held the encoded DNA for their experience that they needed to have here. When you activate your higher states of consciousness, you rewrite your DNA. Your DNA, you have human DNA that once you clear all your human stuff, and you physically ascend. All the visuals will go. You will forget your whole human experience. None of it's even real anymore. It's gone. You're clearing your Akashic records. Doesn't even matter. Nobody cares. From that point forward, the only reason you ever bring something back up is to teach, because now it becomes energy. Now it becomes an example. Now it becomes something that helps other people see. Other than that, you don't even care, and all the visuals go. You can't even see it anymore. It's gone. Now the human will freak out. What do you mean? Because it's replaced with something more awesome. It's replaced with this profound, deep, connected love. It's replaced with amazing realities. It's replaced with your multidimensional realities that you didn't have access to before. And all the colors that you were talking about. You walk around in pinks and purples. And when I saw a green cloud, and you've got, I'm like, I've never seen a green cloud. But what had happened was I had seen it in my sleep years before. And I stood on the beach and I just wept. I just cried. Because you're standing in the realities that used to be in your dream state. It's beyond bizarre.
And seeing that here, yes. Okay.
That's other dimensions in your sleep state, though. So that's why
Yes.
sleep's so important, because you access them in your sleep state, and you can also activate and clear timelines. You can do a ridiculous amount of work in your sleep state and expedite the process. That's why sleep, we wake up when we sleep.
Yes, we wake up when we sleep and feeling
And start
the
walking in lucid,
dreams.
weird, bizarre dreams, yep.
Yes, okay. And that's like a whole other conversation. It's always so beautiful to be in this space with you. And I know that just listening to you speak has really shifted a lot of people. And again, I just want to circle back to the main point, because it is this pure love, unity, consciousness, and creating from that space. It's choosing constantly to be in this higher vibration. And so as we wrap up our call, I do want to, this will allow you time to talk about a special offer, a teaching that allows everyone to go deeper in this. You do a lot of discussion around this. Quantum energetics, right? This is an energetic alignment. It is tuning to the energetics. It's understanding the energetics. Energetics, energetics. That's interesting I said that. And so take a moment here and talk about that as we close our circle.
All right, so what I did is I do all my courses live, then I record them and make them available, and so this is a recorded course. We ended up starting out, and we did the first hour was just everybody introducing and talking about things and bringing stuff in, and then something happened, we lost internet, and so we came back on another day, and so the second part's like 4 hours and 11 minutes, and then I think we came back again and did another hour and 45 minutes, and so it ends up being, I don't know, 1 and 4 is 5, 6, 7 hours of recorded. It's video, and I did a 52-page PDF that actually was point bullet points for the linear mind, because linear mind needs bullet points, whereas we do the energy, and it's all in. It's different. You have to feel what we say in order to receive, and it doesn't match linearly. Okay, so this is nonlinear. Everything I teach is nonlinear. It's all about the vibration and the energetics of everything, and it teaches the tools that we have to then apply in our life and how we live our life. And so everything I do is this. And so this one is focused on explaining and teaching, and when I bring groups in for them to participate, then they bring in the questions, and they bring in the different energies, and they bring in their knowledge, and they get to share, and then it turns into this beautiful thing, because what happens is when people can observe and listen to other people, it makes it more valid and real.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so we can sit around and talk all day long, and the human aspect will go, but I don't understand, and you're crazy, and all this stuff. But the moment you bring a group of people, or like my Facebook page, where people are all replying with their own experiences, people go, wait a minute, this is a real thing? Yes, it's real. All over the world, all over the earth, on a multidimensional level in every capacity. It's beyond real, but not the way you would perceive this to be. So we actually go quantum, which is how on a soul level every one of us live. And so when you expand your consciousness, you expand on a quantum level where everything is just energy, and the physical reality is a vibrational response. The physical reality is a culmination point. The physical reality is what shows you the energy that you have created everything from. And then you actually use your physical reality to see and understand and shift your vibration and your reality and create completely different ones. And so this is a course focused on all of the hows and the whys and the energetics, and we list examples, and we talk about different things. We talk about collectives and higher consciousness DNA, and this teaches. And it'll actually compare, if I'm not mistaken, I think when I went back, it's basically comparing on a human level and then on a soul level. So you actually get to see comparison of, on a human level it's this, but on a soul level it's this. So it actually helps. What it does is it balances out the left and the right brain. Mm-hmm. And so it's bringing forth the information, and this is the important thing about multidimensionality and quantum existence and all of it and how we live now. Once you've heard it, it can expedite your process. You don't have to wait until you figure it all out.
Yes, that's nice.
So that's why we can accelerate everything, is because we, the way showers and the forerunners and all the people that are doing this, we actually chose to go through this and suffer through it all and have our realities collapse and do the harsh and the rough and the intense so that we could turn around and teach and assist when it came to this point in time since 2012, everybody else who was going to come through it so it could be easier. So they don't have to go through the struggle.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that is such a relief as well. We get to consciously choose. And that's what's so beautiful about this. It doesn't have to be so hard. We can choose it. Or we can
our experience is what teaches us. So, yeah, well, mine went from a 2x4 to a 12x12. So, and finally I got tired of just being beaten to death with my reality.
Yes.
And so, but we don't even understand at the time. So the thing about this is we start to understand the purpose of everything. And so this starts showing you how to see the purpose of things instead of blaming things. Not you, Loren, you, we people. But this course focuses on understanding that which isn't linearly understood. Because on a quantum level, everything is nothing like it was. It's all very different. And so for those of us that do this, we take all that knowledge, we take all that information that comes from a place of pure love, and we put it all together and we package it in a way that can make sense for those who are ready, for those who are open, for those who care. And that's the beauty of this, is that humans don't value any of this. They actually have to be taught how to value all of this, which is basically by their reality beating them to death.
Yes. Well, Lisa, thank you for this conversation today and for the special offer. I can also say that anytime I get done with a call with you, a show, or an event, an online healing retreat, or any of these teachings, I literally spend the next few days integrating it. And actually, I'm still integrating a conversation that we had a week or so ago, and it's so beautiful because we can feel the shift as it happens. We can notice it, and I do a lot of the work in dream space. Like after the day you and I spoke, that night you were with me all night long in the dream space. So I wish everyone really good sleep tonight, really good decoding, deciphering this conversation. You said it yourself, Lisa. Sometimes people, they don't get it. We hear people say, I don't understand what this is, but then we hear it again, and this conversation is actually worthy to cycle back around and listen to a second or a third time, because
your head isn't going to get it.
The head's not going to get it. And so when we realize how simple it is, it's this choice of love in every moment. That's very
Quantum is simple.
Not so easy, though.
Okay. But it takes opening your heart to understand it. Quantum goes straight to the core of everything and deals with it right then. Quantum can bypass the linear constructs of everything. And so quantum actually is too simple, because our human go, well, that's too simple. It can't be that easy. Well, yeah, it is. It is that easy, but the thing about it is it's your ego that's fighting. It's your ego that's resisting. It's your ego that doesn't want to hear all of this stuff. It's not your soul that's waking up. It's your human.
Happy surrender to the ego, everyone. Happy surrender of the ego.
Surrender the ego. To your higher self, aspect of yourself that has access to infinite everything. You're surrendering your limits to your infinite.
Yes.
Beautiful.
It is surrendering our limits to the infinite. That is a beautiful way to end our conversation. Very quickly, I do want to also mention another live online healing retreat with Lisa coming up May. That is also available on this webpage. Of course, we go deeper in the now moment, answering questions from our collective group and just diving deeper into this topic. Lisa, the last time we did this, I think it was 4.5 hours that we went. So
yeah, we can't
again,
do anything
beautiful.
small.
No, because it's just such a beautiful, amazing experience, and definitely allowing us to decode our reality.
We don't put time constraints on things. That's the thing about it, is human puts time limits. We don't. We set a time frame, but we go until it feels appropriate, until it's done.
We won't even mention your 20-hour Jerry Lewis type marathons that you do with your group.
My once a month. We started out, and at first it was 6 hours, and it went 8 hours, and then all of a sudden we end up every month at 14 hours. We're going, oh my God! Well, last month it was 20 hours, but you know what? The thing about it is that it feels like nothing. We can go for 20 hours. Now, my people come in with their pillows, and half of them go to sleep, and they wake up, they leave, go take a nap, come back, we're still there. It's hilarious. But the thing about it is your light body will get through anything you need to do, and you'll be fully energized. And so we can go for 20 hours, but then we collapse afterwards. And it'll take me like all day to regenerate my energy so that I can get back to the point where I can do other things. But we don't have the limit. Your body isn't a limit anymore. Your light body functions very differently. It's all energetic. And so our body will carry us through any reality we need to get through. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you for, yes, it's beautiful. It's such a, you're such a beautiful way shower, really, truly a leader in this, and we just thank you and appreciate you for stepping up and getting over any third-dimensional judgment of what the work is that you're doing.
Yeah.
And
judgment keeps everybody stuck in a loop cycle that'll never end, and it creates guilt and blame and all of those things and a whole bunch of other things to have to suffer too. So the first thing is let go of the judgment, because it's never somebody else's judgment, it's all yours.
Yes. So happy letting go of judgment and ego and opening the heart, everyone. Well, Lisa, Transcendence Brown, Ascension Way Shower, thank you for this quantum conversation.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, too, for listening and sharing in this space today. We leave you now with music from the universe, literally sacred geometry of music, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com.